Alright, sorry about that. My phone is only down for about 28 minutes or so. So we were back to the substance abuse and just drinking heavy for the nightmares, trying to get some sleep. I've heard of us going as far as, guys going as far as, meth. To just try to get that, just because they're scared to go to sleep. They just don't want to sleep. They don't want to close their eyes. They don't want to see the stuff that just haunts us. To go as far as taking meth is a very sad state that some guys do go that far. We'll talk about reckless behaviors and thrill seeking. I was spending money like crazy just to try to ease the sadness. Who doesn't like to go get something new? It was only temporary, a couple of days, maybe a week. Just ease that sadness. Buy a new truck, buy a new four-wheeler, new chainsaws, you name it, whatever was fun and exciting and just wasting money. Something I never did before. Except a teenager, of course, wasted a lot of money, but before all this stuff went down in my head, credit score was good, money in the bank, and so we just gotta keep an eye out on all these behaviors. And even though I've seen, multiple fatal motor vehicle accidents and fatal ATV accident, I just began driving recklessly, just flying up and down the road, just doing stupid stuff. And road rage, I tell you, never wanted to hurt anybody, but I just had terrible road rage. Road rage is just unbelievable. Riding my four-wheeler with no helmet, just doing crazy, dangerous stuff. For some reason, I like to destroy the things I got. $50,000 truck, have it down in the woods doing something stupid, and just destroying four-wheelers. Just completely reckless behaviors. I'll tell you, one of the worst ones I had is I woke up one morning and didn't remember how I got my brand new truck home, so I went and got a drinking car. $500 was to lose if you wrecked that. That's just how crazy that this stuff, makes your mind go to. Then after all that stopped working for me, I just went into a deep state of isolation and avoidance. I was there for 2.5, almost 3 years. Just a terrible place to be. Just feel so lost and broken and hopeless. You almost don't even know who you are anymore. I can't take credit for this statement, but it's definitely so powerful, and what I used to experience, and I'm just going to read it to you. PTSD involves rocketing into extreme states of terror, rage, and uncontrollable impulses, and then plunging into equally extreme states of being shut down, exhausted, emotionally numb, despair, and disassociation. That statement's, I experienced it myself, and that's the guy one shift that's all happy and enjoying life, and then the next shift you don't even approach him. If you approach him, he's going to chew your ass out. It's just sad that our mind does this to us. Uh, you know, we're trying to help people. Let me talk about a pending doom a little bit. This is definitely my definition of a pending doom. This is what I went through. Could be completely right on this, could be completely wrong on this. As I start getting feedback, if people want to talk to me about their stories, I'd like to see where we're at on it. But pending doom to me is like a pinball machine. A pinball machine has 4 sides or 4 walls, however you want to word it. And I'm pretty sure you're sitting in a room right now with 4 walls, so I just want you to put fear on one wall, anger on one wall, intense sadness on one wall, and unknown on one wall. That fear is that death is upon us. That's the what ifs. That sadness is just all those calls and those negative emotions. And then unknown, that's the worst one. That's the darkness that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Gives you the goosebumps on your arms. That type of darkness that feels like it's just closing in on you. Within that darkness, you think that there may or may not be a tiger present with you. And you do not know if you should wait that tiger out, fight that tiger, or run from that tiger. Definitely just such a bad place to be, When I was drinking heavily and having thoughts of, just checking out, that I was beyond help, that I was just too broken to get help. That unknown was it's just some bad stuff. But back to the pinball machine. That ball that goes in that pinball machine is you. All of the bells and lights and whistles inside that pinball machine represents all of the calls that never leave your mind. That cold metal handle that you pull back and those 2 little buttons on the side that keeps that ball rolling is all of your triggers. And it's just such a terrible place to be when the handle gets pulled back and hits that ball, and that ball is you, and you're just pinging all over all the negative emotions and calls and lights and the faces and the screams and the smells, and you're bouncing off of fear, and you're bouncing off of anger, and you're bouncing off intense sadness, you're bouncing off of unknown. It's just a terrible, terrible place to be. We'll talk about a few cues that we really need to look out for too. Somebody probably ain't going to be as outgoing as I am about this, but I'm hoping hopefully one day in the near future, that there's just going to be so much awareness about this, and so much open-mindedness and being receptive, and the people really going to start talking about it, just being open about it. But some of the cues you need to look out for, if you don't think the guys are talking about it, is just that guy or girl, or it's always smiling, and then all of a sudden they're just not smiling anymore. That smile means a lot. Something's going on in that person's mind for them to just stop smiling and just look feel and present very numb. Laughter turning into silence. You got somebody you're used to working with, and they're always laughing, having a good time, and then they're completely silent, never wanting to talk to you. Inappropriate jokes. Lord, we're all about inappropriate jokes. Makes our day easier. Gives you a little hope that somebody will say something stupid. But them inappropriate jokes turn into blank stares. Them blank stares ain't good. That's a person mind that is off to the races, and they might be trapped in one call or 2 calls or 10 calls. You never know. Strong eye contact is a big thing too. Person that's always giving you strong eye contact is now staring or glaring down or looking towards the floor when they talk to you. That's a real big one too that you need to pick up and be aware of, and always staying busy. Like people with PTSD, they're always real busy because they're trying to get their mind off of the calls or whatever's going on up there. For me, when I was an ER nurse, I worked night shift, and then by 8:30 in the morning, I was back with a patient in the back of the ambulance, and I just never really slept. Naps here and there at the fire station. I really lived at the fire station for a while. Me and my wife had a beautiful home, but we didn't have any children. I mean, practically lived at the fire station, and just because I was always just staying busy. I wanted to I thought by staying busy was keeping my mind off of it, but looking back on it, I was just so, soaked into it. So, these are the guys or girls that are just, working 2 or 3 jobs, or they're always doing something, no matter what it is. During my time of isolation and avoidance, I did a little small hustle of buying and selling cars and trucks and 4-wheelers, you name it, trailers, and started a business. And that chase of always trying to find a good deal and fixing it and selling it and trying to find a job here, a job there, it was just night and day, just kept my mind busy all the time. So we gotta look out for people that just never seem like they're taking a break, taking some time to chill out. That's just them trying to stay away from all these calls that are going on up there. Big question I got: why did I not ask for help? It took a lot of therapy to figure out the answer to that question, but it's definitely a great question. I mean, this stuff was such a slow process. At first, I really didn't know what was going on with me. At one point in life, you're just living life, doing great things, got big plans. Then a little anxiety sneaks up on you. The calls that you've ran that were very traumatic or sad, they start coming in your mind, but they're real fuzzy, they're not vivid. Your body starts going through some of those physical symptoms we talked about. Start having some of those feelings and behaviors. Then you get to the point that you're lucky to be able to get some sleep, just because the calls then just become so vivid and they're just running through your mind every day, 24/7. And that begins the downward spiral of self-doubt and questioning your own judgment and so on. This stuff is just such a slow process, and it's just terrible what it does to your mind. I'll tell you one reason why. I think I didn't ask for help, and probably a lot of us don't either. Remember one day at work, I got into an argument with somebody I worked with, and just told me I was such a black and white thinker. I had no gray area. I was such by the book, just no wiggle room. And I just looked at that person and I said, that's how people stay alive. And that was the end of that conversation. And but looking back on that and processing it in therapy, when you have that way of thinking and you don't think you have a problem, that way of thinking has kept you alive and kept all your peers alive. for many of years. If you've done so much great things with this mind and seen so much tragic stuff, and you stayed alive working it, and your buddy stayed alive working it. Your mind, you just tell yourself, my mind ain't letting me down now. This just must be, part of the job, or it ain't PTSD. It's something else. Just denial. It's a terrible thing. We'll talk a little bit more about early intervention. Just early intervention is so important. You got one call that's bothering you a couple months after the fact. Just start working then. Don't wait. Don't let the years go by and pile these calls up. A lot of this stuff will just be handled with peer support. That's my big driving focus behind this, is just, putting it out there. Hopefully start a peer support group in the area, and, all of this stuff is just going to start coming together and fading away once we all start working together and talking about it. And, at first it's going to be rough, but it'll be worth it. Definitely start to get to know, and which I am in the process of, your critical incident stress management team. These guys do good things. And, I'm just starting to learn about them, out in a volunteer setting. Hopefully, that exists for you. And of course, know your resources, your hotline numbers you can call. So I'll tell you about some treatment. I chose therapy. I chose EMDR therapy. I just want to show you an article on that real quick. So right here, if you go to Google, just type in the hidden gem of PTSD treatment. This was just published October 10th of this year. This stuff is really getting new. But this article is just awesome. I tell you, if you want to learn about EMDR and just read this person's story, it's just amazing. It's definitely one of the best articles I've came across. So definitely check that out if you would like. Alright. Also, there's acupuncture out there. That was suggested to me by somebody that I care for. I haven't had the time nor the money to do it yet. I'm gonna give it a shot. Maybe do a little video on that one day. Journaling and drawing, that's always healthy. I had to do some of that in therapy. The biggest thing I had to do was write a letter of compassion to myself. Just pretend like I was the guy wrapping the arm around, a person like myself, just, being so, just, broken and lost and feeling hopeless. The two hardest things about this is, number one is speaking up and saying you got a problem, talking about it. That's terrible, it's rough, but it's worth it. It feels like you're just going against the grain, but you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get it done. It's hard work. Ain't nobody says it's going to be easy. The second hardest thing about this is just telling, one of your brothers or sisters, I'm seeing this, seeing these feelings, these behaviors, picking up on this, picking up on that. I think it's time we start talking. That person may not talk to you for a while, but it's worth it. You got that wheel. Got that wheel turning, they're thinking about it, and it's just what you got to do. But that letter is, that letter is something else. Basically, if you listen to those 5 PTSD talks I did, that's the letter minus the details of the calls, because got to protect people's personal identity, but those 5 talks was basically a letter to myself and giving it to y'all. Getting out and enjoying Mother Nature and family and friends, sleep routine, and of course medications. If you need to and they work, give it a run. I'm not a doctor or anything. It's just my suggestion, what I've been through. Try some of this other stuff first. Medications didn't get you into PTSD. Seeing traumatic stuff did. So that's work on reversing that. Then if we need medications, let's rock it out. But try one of these other things first. I'll just tell you about did a little trial with medications. I could still see things. It was probably more vivid, but I just couldn't feel it. Just kind of like numb to it. I didn't like it. If I'm having a bad day, I want to go to therapy, feel it out, and make things happen again. But this EMDR therapy has just completely changed my life. The calls don't run in my head anymore. If I want to think about them, I can bring them up. I can put them back down. Just got a whole new outlook on life. Just almost feeling like I did when I was a teenager and getting ready to make things happen. So it's just not worth holding it in. Just get some help. So we all like algorithms, everything we do is an algorithm. PTSD algorithm is just so simple. You're not in this alone. You are honorable, and talk about it before it talks to you. That's the biggest thing. It's just talking. You got to get it out. We got to talk about it, because this stuff will just eat you up inside. So talk about it before it talks to you. This was sent to me about a week and a half ago or so. Such a powerful, powerful statement. It was actually found in a EMS staff lounge at a ER. It's probably about 45 minutes from me. I noticed the writer wrote it in green. I don't know his or her stance behind what he wrote. I hope the writer talks to me one day and see if we're on the same page. I don't know their agenda behind writing this, but it definitely fits this wonderfully. When I woke up one morning and saw this on my phone, I was like, wow, that's it. But I'm going to read it to you here. It says, the only way to get the truth is to make people comfortable enough to be honest. And that's the whole drive behind this, is just getting people to be comfortable, promote awareness, getting people to feel like it's okay to be honest and share the truth. And it's just an amazing sentence. It has so much power to it, and that's just where we're at right now in our mental health for our first responders. I want to address one more thing real quick before we end. I had one question too, is, I don't want to, somebody tell me, I don't really want to ask for help because, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't want to lose my job. There's so much stuff protecting us right now that, you don't even have to worry about that. I just want to share something with you real quick before we end this. What happened to me, because I just kept this so bottled up and just kept it to myself for years and years. It cost me a $70,000 job, as an ER nurse making bank. And once this stuff just fired off in my head, I didn't tell anybody. Went through multiple rounds of unemployment, bankruptcy, lost my truck. started drinking, just heading down that road of just strong substance abuse. Almost cost me my marriage. Most importantly, it almost cost me my life. That's why we just gotta stop keeping this stuff bottled up. It's okay. You're not weak if you're going through it. You know, you're strong as hell to speak up about it and get help. And I'm hoping one day from now that it's just gonna be more than me on YouTube. It's just people all over it posting stuff like this, and just gonna be big peer support groups everywhere, and everybody's just gonna come together and just start talking about it. And I'm telling you, it's just gonna be such a drastic change. Just the team, once we come together on this. That's it. I appreciate it. Hope this helps. Pass it along. And I thank you.